Evening, JPod. This is Mr. Mustafali coming to you live from Athelston's kitchen. We'll be looking at a request you guys made, and that will be knives, and what kind of knives Athelston uses, as well as techniques for using them. So, these are all of my knives and knife accessories. Next to Mr. Mustafali's is my kitchen amp, as well as a knife block that I like to use because it doesn't really do anything to the blade, and it just suspends the blade with the handle. This is a homing steel. You use this to maintain the edge when you are heavily using your chef knife. Straight blade, that is, not something serrated like a bread knife. Straightens the blade from any nicks and bruises you may have caused to it while improperly using it or cutting something like meat and cutting through the bone. And this is an actual sharpening tool. It has two settings, coarse and fine. You run the knife through the coarse section, then you run it through the fine section. It's pretty simple. It does hurt on your teeth if you have that sensitivity, so keep in mind, or ask your parents to do it. A great little tool to try and bring some life to your tired knife. The alternative is hiring a butcher to do it for you. And these two red little things are my favorite because they're a nice color. I like red. The first one is a peeler. Everyone's seen a peeler. Great in military movies where they try to punish you to peel some potatoes. As long as that blade is a swivel blade, you're set, because that'll definitely help with peeling odd-shaped potatoes. The one in the back is a garlic press given to me as a gift. I really like it because it's red and it's humongous. But the best thing about this is, if I ever run out of my jar of garlic mints that you saw last week, this will definitely help replenish that supply. And these are my chef knives. I use these predominantly in the kitchen space, as well as most other famous cooks and chefs on the internet. They are the most versatile kitchen knife you could ever use. If you are having issues with the ones in your parents' collection, it probably means either they're too big, they're too heavy, or your hands are too small. So in any event, find one that fits your use and your hand. Next, we'll be looking at how to use some of the more common knives in the kitchen space in a safe manner. First up will be the peeler. Most people know how to use the peeler. It's pretty quick, pretty easy. Against the vegetable you're wanting to, nice even strokes. Next up will be how to prepare your vegetable with the chef knife into several different cuts. We'll first start with the julienne cut, your sort of matchstick cut. So first up is get your prepared vegetable, cut it into more manageable pieces. This will have a 3-part carrot. Next will be cutting this down so that it's a bit more manageable in that matchstick variant of cut. First up, make sure that your offhand that is holding the vegetable is in a claw motion so you don't cut yourself while you're cutting. The best method to do that is to curl your fingers while they're holding the top of the vegetable. Put your thumb behind the vegetable so it drags your fingers as you move along the vegetable. Basically your safest method, because the knife will go up against the knuckles. So we put it up there, make nice rectangular cuts out of this round carrot so that it's a bit more manageable. Next, you're making slabs of a particular vegetable, and then you're lining that up however you want, depending on your skill. I would say go half and then just do it slowly, and then you are cutting down again in a nice sort of front to back motion, making nice stick figure type carrot pieces. The next kind of cut we'll be looking at will be the oblique cut. It is an older cutting method where you start off with, depending on the size of your vegetable, a longer piece. You put it on the board, you angle your blade to make an angled cut initially, and then you roll it back and forth in that same angled blade to then make sort of rounded cuts of that particular vegetable. Great for soups and stews. Next, we'll be looking at cutting an onion. A lot of people seem to hate this because of the liquid that the onion sprays. You're just going to have to get used to it. First step is cutting the top off and beginning to peel the onion. Once the top is peeled, then you can lie it flat, cut through the root to get through to the whole half of the onion. Then begin peeling your half shells. Once you get to this stage, when it's a nice sort of uniform color, then you begin your dice cut. Dice is what you usually do with onions unless you want something for a salad. First way to dice cut really is to segment your onions so that you have the sort of matchstick approach. But don't cut all the way through, you want it to hold together at the back, if that makes sense. Next, you then just go with the normal cutting motion, up and down. As Steve always says, onions come in many layers, and that'll help with trying to dice up this onion. And that's how you cut an onion. The main thing to remember is the root has all the chemicals that makes you cry, so just pace yourself while you're cutting through this and work your way all the way down slowly and safely. If you do get some in your eyes, just make sure you wash your hands first and then wash your face. So, Mr. Moustapheles, do you think I covered everything? Yes, I think you did a pretty good job. Most of those cuts are very general and they cover a broad spectrum of foods that can be cut that way. It'll just depend on what you're wanting to do as the cook. It's a good starting point for any beginner cook, and I'm sure if there were any other topics that the kids want to talk about, they'll let you know on the night, and then you can make another fun video while we're cooking something else.